everybody. Is it creepy when I look at you like this?
Particularly with the microphone screen in the way, it's even creepier. It's like Wilson from Home Improvement.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow,
Anyway.
that sort of just looked like a penis with eyes coming right out.
That's me, old penis with eyes.
My dick had eyes that would look like my wedding night. All right. Think about it. Or try not.
I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't have a fake sponsor this week. I couldn't think of anything. Oh, well.
How about Summer Rae's blowjobs? When you need to get a win on Raw.
Yeah, what the fuck? That was...
I'm sure we'll talk about it. That looked awkward as shit. It almost looked like she just didn't let her kick out or something. It was weird. Oh, nice. Classic Owen Hart. There you go.
Anyway.
And bring out my son's suitcase full.
So put him here. Oh, it happened again.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, I'm going home now.
You already are home.
That's true. They don't know that. I'm in my secret hideout.
Okay. Might as well get this show on the road, I suppose, with no fake sponsor this week. Oh, we already have a viewer. Hello, viewer. If you can think of a quick fake sponsor, post it up here on the Q&A and maybe I'll use it. But only if you can post it in the next 10 seconds.
Nothing.
All right, then. We'll just go right into it then. This is 2:35. Are you ready?
Oh, no. Yeah, let me pull it up here. There we go. All right, ready? All right.
2:35 in 3, 2, 1, record. Jerry Lawler tweeted out support for Donald Trump's presidential campaign this week and has received death threats in response. Is that an appropriate response to a Donald Trump endorsement? And if so, can I threaten my neighbors with the Trump sign on their lawns?
Yes and yes.
Great. I'll have to think of something good. While I do that, theme song. Somebody posted that they were like, "Oh, Jerry Lawler playing that perfect heel character."
He would be supporting Hillary if he weren't working with Mauro Ranallo.
I don't know what that means. More likely to read a tweet before retweeting it than Hulk Hogan. It's episode 235 of The Rundown. My name is Adam. I'm your host, and it is Wednesday, February 17th, 2016. Joining me this week, once again, Jason is here.
What is up?
That was a weird little hand motion you just made.
It's my Stardust.
Oh, okay. Did you hear about that? Hulk Hogan retweeted a tweet using the very same racial slur that got him kicked out of WWE.
Given that in his defense he was retweeting things about Obama, and yeah, I'm not sure he needs a Twitter coach or whatever.
Yeah, this is the balls deep in Brooke situation all over again.
Exactly. Some just too much Mexican food, and you know what happens.
You got kicked out of WWE for using the N-word in a sex tape. You cannot then retweet a tweet that says, "Hey, Hulk Hogan, can a nigger get a retweet?" You can't do that.
Well, to be fair, he did tell everyone that he had been told he was allowed to use the N-word. So.
Booker T said it was okay.
Yeah, that's true. And Sid said you're not. And Sid said he's not half as smart as you think I am. So,
and Sid said, my ankle,
Let's start over again. No, we're live. We're live.
I apologize to anyone wearing earbuds just then. Let's go to the mail here. We got a couple of voicemails this week.
I'm going to guess one's from Sal.
One is from Sal. We're going to start with that one. Right about now.
Hey, what's up, Rundown? You know, Rowdy Piper once said that just when you think you have the answers, he changes the questions. And I think the questions are being changed on us going into Fastlane. That title has now been removed for Dean Ambrose, which opens him up to actually win the triple threat match. Maybe, maybe not, but it still is an interesting question of what will Dean Ambrose be doing at WrestleMania. And subsequently, Kevin Owens is now the Intercontinental Champion. Judging by the way things are going, I think AJ should finish up his feud with The Miz and Jericho. And when he does, maybe he should be the one challenging Kevin Owens at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title. Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles. I'll take that at WrestleMania. I'm assuming also Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family finish off Kane, Big Show, and Ryback, because that's just lame. Do they put the Wyatts against Brock? All of them? Just Bray? Just Braun? I don't know. And it shouldn't be ignored that for some reason they're doing a segment of Fastlane involving...
Shit. Wasn't paying attention. Phone went to sleep. God damn it.
You know, you can turn off that timeout thing.
Edge and Christian with the New Day. Whatever happens in that segment, I would have to assume leads to the New Day's match at WrestleMania. Now, obviously, it's not going to be Edge and Christian, but who will come out during that segment? And what tag team will be challenging the New Day at WrestleMania? It should be interesting. You know, I think the one thing we're guaranteed of going to Fastlane is that Brie Bella will not win the women's title. And hopefully, like we've been saying for the past couple months, we get Sasha and Charlotte. Let's see how Fastlane goes, boys. See what we can get after it. Talk to you guys later.
We'll talk about Dean Ambrose later.
Yeah, so much to touch on, actually. Good voicemail by Sal.
Every so often, he has a gem.
Hit a lot of talking points. So I guess I made some notes here during the voicemail. I'm a prepared co-host. Yes. So first and foremost, let's start at the end and work way back to what I took notes on. First off, Brie Bella, I'm actually thinking she's going to win the title at Fastlane. And here's what I see. This is how I see it playing out. I could be completely off base, but here's my take. They're having the match. Charlotte's dominating. Brie gets a close pin. Referee gets pulled out, something along those lines by Flair. All of a sudden, Daniel Bryan comes down. Yes chant goes crazy through the building. Daniel lays out Flair. Charlotte gets distracted. Brie rolls her up. 1, 2, 3. Brie and Daniel celebrate. Huge yes chants. Big send-off. Next night on Raw, drops the title back to Charlotte, and then we're on the road to WrestleMania with Sasha and Becky.
I was once you said that, I was actually going to say, since she announced this week that she was soon to be leaving the company.
Yeah.
God. Give her one last 24-hour title reign to shove her out the goddamn door.
And they give Daniel Bryan that last big moment. It's absolutely how I see it playing out. It's kind of very reminiscent of the Edge and Christian. Edge comes out to help him beat Alberto Del Rio. They give the title to Christian for a day, and then Randy Orton comes and steals it from him.
Oh God, I hated that storyline so goddamn much when it was happening.
I'm a huge Christian fan.
And then they brought it back in 2K15 as one of the 8-match downloadable showcase storylines. When you got to play with the refucking of Christian.
As bad as the story, as bad as the way they booked it was, at the end of the day, Christian and Orton in the ring together had such amazing chemistry. I mean, every match was a 5-star event. So
absolutely, but for a guy who'd been in the company for years and who's been wrestling for years, to finally give him the world championship and then make it two of the shittiest championship reigns since Rey Mysterio was champion.
What are you going to do?
That's frustrating.
You know what? At least you get to say you're a 2-time world heavyweight champion.
One of which you won by kicking a man in the balls, or by getting a man to kick you in the balls.
Whatever it takes, man. Get a championship any way you can, right?
Co-Ghost Sean wants us to note that we forgot the classic Sid line. You messed with this mind's man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we forgot a lot of classic Sid lines. If I'm, there's just quite a bevy of classic Sid lines.
Twice the man that you are, and I have half the brain that you do.
All right, now second on my list from Sal's voicemail, the New Day and Edge and Christian. I was also thinking, what the fuck is this about when they announced it?
Yes.
And then I recalled immediately following Fastlane, the debut of Edge and Christian's new show on the WWE Network.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that. It's gonna be.
I'm looking forward to it, absolutely. But I think that might
when
just
the
be
WWE when the WWE is actually advertising it as balls out ridiculous. I cannot wait to watch this show.
Well, and they had to have a bit of creative. I mean, Christian's still under contract, but Edge isn't. So to get him to come back, they had to kind of give him a lot of freedom. So I think that's going to lead to some great stuff. But I think the New Day segment might just be a promotional vehicle for that show's debut more than it is to set up WrestleMania.
Well,
could be wrong.
If that is the case, though, still this question still remains: who faces them for the tag titles at WrestleMania?
Yeah, I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago. Maybe it's an NXT team. Maybe it's an Enzo and Cass. Who knows?
I don't know if they would debut that at Mania though. Maybe the night after Mania. I don't know if they would have an NXT team debut at Mania.
I just don't know that there's anybody left on the main roster to really put against New Day. That New Day doesn't overshadow.
You've got these new look Dudley boys who were supposed to win the titles like 3 times when they first came back and never did.
Heel on heel though, I'm not sure I see that. It's hard to tell. Of course, like we said before, it's Mania. It'll probably be an 18 tag team gauntlet ladder match.
Tag team battle royal.
Absolutely.
If your partner gets thrown out, you have to leave too.
Now, I want to issue the mea culpa. A couple shows back, I think we were talking about Dean Ambrose, and I said I didn't see him doing anything spectacular at WrestleMania, maybe defending the IC title. I was clearly wrong. There's clearly big plans for this guy. The last couple weeks have shown that, putting the IC title off of him. Now, I still don't think he's winning at Fastlane.
We can talk about that when we get to the predictions at the end of the show.
But there's definitely something lined up big for Dean down the line, way more so than I even thought. And Jericho and Styles has been phenomenal so far, no pun intended. But Sal touched upon it. The one thing that I think hasn't gotten the attention is The Miz has been phenomenal in putting this angle together, kind of the glue holding Jericho and AJ Styles together. With great matches within the ring. Miz has upped his game and he's brought him to another level. That match on Monday was really good. But even just with the promotional work with the Miz, what's his show there? Whatever that skit show he does on Raw is called.
Miz TV.
There you go. That's what it is.
The one that's named after him?
Yes, absolutely. His work with Jericho and AJ on that to push this feud has been tremendous.
Yeah, I really like what they did on Raw this week with AJ actually challenging Jericho for the match at Fastlane, and Jericho and Jericho going, maybe. I'll tell you what, I'll tell you on SmackDown.
Only problem I had with that was that we had that basically twice in the same show with Kevin Owens kind of, I don't know if I want to take your challenge, and then Jericho doing the same thing later.
Yeah, and then even though, I mean, that was Kevin Owens saying, I'm not fucking facing Dolph Ziggler, and then WWE officials. Yes, you are facing Dolph Ziggler. Like, I don't know why they had to do the unnamed officials bit, but
it was Jack Tunney.
I was going to say, it's not like Jack Tunney's in the back going, make it happen. The ghost of Gorilla Monsoon came down and said, you will face Dolph Ziggler at Fastlane.
That is a big ghost.
He will kick you in your lateral collateral ligaments.
All All right, now wading into some dangerous waters for you and I here. Do you have the John Cena tweet on your agenda for the show?
I don't. The one about risk. The one about risky business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about that for a second, if I can.
Sure.
So, for those of you who are not aware, John Cena tweeted out, and I don't remember verbatim, but something to the effect of he's going to take a big risk to accomplish a goal.
Yeah, it was something about gambling. You talk, and I'll try and find it.
All right.
Sure
but basically, the talking heads of the wrestling world are now speculating that is an indication that he is pushing himself to make sure he is ready for WrestleMania to face The Undertaker. And for anybody who has problems with Cena, Adam and I disagree. I'm actually not a Cena hater. He is. That's fine. I understand that. If John Cena is wrestling The Undertaker at WrestleMania, he needs to just start wearing the goddamn S on his chest because the man is fucking Superman.
Here it is. This is from 2 days ago. It says, gamble, : take risky action in hope of a desired result. Time to gamble, I think. It's going to be a risky next 2 weeks. # lace up. # never give up.
And the timeline fits. If they're going to go forward with The Undertaker in the next 2 weeks, it's got about 2 weeks before they'd have to really start pushing that. So that's why I think everyone's looking that way, and it sounds that way. It could just be a swerve, and so they use social media all the time to kind of get you thinking one thing and look the other way. But like I said, if he is back in the ring at WrestleMania, I don't even know what to say. The man's made of steel. I don't know.
But also # lace up. What else could it be referring to?
Who knows?
Nikki and I are going ice skating.
Or they're in bondage.
Yeah.
Now there's a video you would watch, Adam. Don't lie. And let's see. I think that covers my list of content from Sal's email. Sal's voicemail. Trussell,
loyalty, respect.
I see what you did there.
Anyway. Yeah, you already covered the notes that I had made from that. So now we've talked the past couple of weeks about Braun Strowman.
Ooh.
And Braun Snowman.
Oh, okay. Him.
And how awful it would be if he faced The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and how WWE's put the kibosh on that plan because everybody thought it would be a terrible thing. Yeah. Now it's being rumored that he's going to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Are we okay with that plan?
Given that that's really been apropos of nothing the last 2 years. I mean,
exactly.
Cesaro won it. They did nothing with him. And then Big Show won it, and really nothing happened from that. So I guess in the terms of it doesn't really fucking matter. Yeah, let Braun Strowman win it, whatever.
Yeah. Apparently the idea would be to give Strowman the win in the Battle Royal, and then try to give him some kind of major push as the new monster of the WWE, building him towards a feud with Roman Reigns, potential pay-per-view match with Brock Lesnar, maybe at SummerSlam. So yeah, since the whole Undertaker backlash, maybe have him win the Battle Royal and make him look tough.
Yeah. The Big Show was on the Stone Cold podcast, which was one of the most awkward goddamn things I've ever seen. Big Show ends Raw in the ring. They cut right after Raw to Stone Cold sitting there and just vamping for about 10 minutes while Big Show runs in completely out of breath with a sweatshirt over his wrestling gear, still sweating balls from being out there, and huffing and puffing.
I was wondering how they were going to do that, because if you're going to do the Stone Cold podcast live, don't have it involve the guy who was in the main event segment on Raw, because that's just going to be awkward.
Yeah, it was really uncomfortable. But anyway, the point to that was right off the bat, Show was rather effusive in complimenting Strowman. Whether that came from his personal opinion of The Office, who knows? But talked about how he's getting better every time out. He works hard. He doesn't make the same mistake twice. He still makes mistakes, but he learns from them, blah, blah, blah. And that's one of the things I like about some of these Stone Cold interviews is they really kind of get into realness, and it's not so much all kayfabed. But I thought that was interesting to hear from a guy like Show.
Chris Jericho podcast interview.
Yeah, no, Jericho's podcasts suck on there. I listen to the pod. I listen to Jericho every week. Well, I shouldn't say every week. Most when there's an interesting guest, I'll listen to Jericho. But the live podcasts have just been brutal. I would have loved to have seen Stone Cold do the Stephanie podcast. I think he would have gotten some much better questions out of him if he had done that. But
that's what everybody said.
Like, hey, why do you emasculate all the male talent when they'll never get their heat back on you? Don't you think that hurts them?
How many times were you planning on slapping Roman Reigns during that opening segment on Raw?
And as great as Stephanie is on the mic, and to be fair, one of the best in the company on the microphone in terms of getting over what she needs to get over, her, and that's a shoot. But when you think of all those people she's interacted with, who is she elevated by being involved with them outside of Jericho? I mean, I really think she did help get Jericho over with the brutal bottom-feeding trash bag hoe and that whole gimmick. But outside of that, I struggle to think of anybody who was better for their interactions with Stephanie on camera than they were when they went into it.
Yeah. Maybe, well, no, I was going to say maybe Kurt Angle, but that was just a whole awkward thing, and that didn't really work in anybody's favor.
Right.
Kogos Sean says, Chris Jericho is the softest interview this side of Jimmy Fallon. He might as well just play charades with his guests. It would be a more difficult conversation.
Yeah. Well, the AJ one recently wasn't bad. When he gets a good, compelling guest, you're not going to get hardball questions, but you will get some outside of the WWE discussion, which is nice. I think a lot of times when he's doing the podcast on the WWE Network, he's not going to talk about AJ's time in New Japan, but he can do that on his own, and I think so. He's better in that environment.
Maybe New Japan, but certainly not TNA.
Right, exactly.
Because TNA doesn't exist.
We have a whole text exchange full of TNA prior to this show.
Well,
foreshadowing.
That's a different topic for a different time. So. There's more on the Titus O'Neil story.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Sources claim that Titus O'Neil grabbed McMahon's arm in order to let Stephanie go first. He was being a proper gentleman and trying to allow the lady to exit first. And that this was perceived incorrectly by McMahon, leading to the suspension. The suspension was reduced from 90 days to 60 days. But to most people, that is still a ridiculously lengthy suspension for grabbing your boss's arm, technically on television. But yeah, Titus O'Neil just wants to be a gentleman, man. He just wants to be a nice guy. Ladies first.
I think we all agree the suspension is kind of silly, kind of overkill. Definite overreaction, but at the same time, I don't think any of us knows. Perhaps he's been talked to about it multiple times about being serious on camera. Who knows? But at the end of the day, the boss gets to decide. I don't buy into the crap that it's a racial thing.
Oh no, absolutely not. And Steve Austin shot that down on his most recent podcast as well, saying there's absolutely nothing racial about this whole thing, and it's kind of bullshit for people to call that in this day and age.
Well, and if you want to hear it is racist view, follow my man at This Is SWB for Slick Wagner Brown on Twitter. He'll tell you all about the racism angle of it. And you'll probably see me arguing with him on there. But yeah, I will say this. He's still the 60-day reduction, still has him outside of WrestleMania. But
yes. What
that did was the 90 days would have kept him off that big, very lucrative European tour they do post-WrestleMania, which is some of the talent's biggest paydays of the year is that tour. But by reducing it, they're at least allowing him to be part of that tour. I think that might have been the reasoning behind reducing it.
And there was, I don't remember if it was this week or last week, but there was apparently someone had captured a text message that he had sent expressing great remorse for the situation and admitting that what he had done was incorrect and that he shouldn't have done it. So I'm sure his behavior after everything has certainly helped as well, where he is taking his lumps and saying, yeah, I mean, I did it for a reason, but I fucked up and I shouldn't have done it, and it's totally my bad. And so I'm sure that's certainly helping his cause as well.
And here's the thing, when people are talking about this as a racism thing, and Vince this is not the first time we've seen this. I mean, keep in mind the Paul London incident He got caught on camera laughing during the Vince death march to the limo before it exploded, and they fucking fired his ass. He was gone. So if they're trying to have a serious moment on TV and you fuck that up,
I'd forgotten about that.
Getting upset about it and overreacting. So I think Titus might have just fallen. And Paul London, white as the fucking snow. So
yeah. I'd forgotten all about that.
Yeah. That's not going to pop up on trivia later, I'm sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I had something that disappeared. Anyways, what else we got this week? This might be a very short show. We've got two people who have announced. We talked about one of them earlier, who have announced that they are they're going to let their time in WWE come to an end when their contracts are up later on this year. One of them makes me very happy. One of them makes me very sad.
I think I can guess which one makes you happy.
Yeah, probably. Brie Bella, of course, has announced that she is looking to step away from the company to start a family, like Daniel Bryan talked about in his farewell speech. Thank you,
yes.
God.
Yes.
Thank you, Jeebus. Yeah, saying it has nothing to do with Daniel Bryan in the sense that she had made the decision that she was leaving earlier this year or mid this year. There's a certain date that she's gone. The date was decided before Bryan decided to retire. And of course, apparently she's mentioned it during episodes of Total Divas. You would know more about that than I. And has said that she is fighting baby fever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the annals of women's wrestling, Brie Bella is not going to go down as one of the all-time greats.
Did you just talk about anals in relation to the Bella twins?
Huh?
Never mind.
Okay. Did you try to take that to a bad place, Adam?
Baby, don't judge me.
Listen, I thought you were preventing me from doing that this week after last week's debacle.
Anal?
No, talking about it. We'll save that for the post show. But yeah, I don't think anybody's going to really sit there and go, oh, I really wish I could see another Brie Bella match in the way that we feel about Daniel Bryan. She served her purpose while she was there.
What do we need to do to convince her to take her sister with her? What do we need to do to convince her to say, hey, Nikki, maybe that neck's not so well off as it would be a shame. It would be a shame if something were to happen to your neck.
Just convince John Cena to pop some of that Superman sperm up in her.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And so the one Sean says, so what you're saying is that Brie is winning the title this Sunday? We talked about that earlier. Where the fuck were you?
That's my guess. Again, I think you're talking a super short reign, like a one-night deal, because they do have to get the ball rolling on Sasha and Becky, which I think is going to be the triple threat at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. But I think we're going to get a one-shot deal.
Yeah, I'll give her the old Kane special.
Absolutely. Wait a second, that could be taken a couple different ways.
Not the Katie Vick special.
Okay.
Different. And then on the other side of the coin, we have Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett has announced that has informed WWE that he will not re-sign with the company when his current deal is up in June, saying that he made the decision because he was no longer enjoying what he was doing in the company. I suppose I can't blame him for that.
I wouldn't like being injured either, because that's pretty much all he's done in the company. Right. There's been very few cases of a guy who every single time he's gotten on a roll has gotten hurt. I guess Daniel Bryan would be a recent comparison, but outside of that, and off topic a tiny bit, why the fuck is he out there managing in his gear?
So that people forget that he hasn't wrestled in 2 years. I actually posted that on Twitter during Raw. We'll send something. Yeah, we'll send Wade Barrett out there in his gear so people won't realize he hasn't wrestled in the last 6 months.
Yeah, it looks hokey. They'll have a 6-man tag where he never gets in the ring. It's like, we know he's
exactly.
Just, I don't know why we're trying to force pretending that he's not injured when we all know it.
Yeah, I mean, Barrett's been in the company since 2007. Of course, won the first season of NXT, led the Nexus to great heights, and then was utterly destroyed by John Cena.
Amongst others.
No, pretty much John Cena. And of course, after the Nexus lost that feud. It pretty much killed all of their momentum for the end of time.
I think we had this talk the other day. To me, the bigger blow was when they put him in his first main event against Randy Orton. He cashed in his title shot, and they put Orton over on him. I think they put the title on him there. You're talking about he's seeing a proof at that point. But that's just me.
Yeah, there were a lot of mistakes made with the Nexus. We talked about those in great detail when they happened on this show. Those many years ago. Good God, I've been doing this show for so long. But yeah, definitely the SummerSlam, that whole match against where John Cena and actually Michael Tarver, if you remember Michael Tarver, Michael Tarver did an interview this week talking about this whole thing where basically he said himself the biggest thing that killed the Nexus was that match with John Cena, where John Cena took a DDT on the concrete floor and then came back and beat 5 Nexus guys to win the match. Or the whole part where he lost to them and got fired and it was never off TV. No,
he wasn't supposed to get fired. He was supposed to become a member of the Nexus, and he did.
That
He
whole angle where he never actually lost anything by losing.
It's not all that different than when they did the gimmick where Daniel Bryan had to become a Wyatt, and that lasted all of 2 weeks. And
that was also bizarre. A lot could have come from that, and they completely fucked that over too.
Yeah, well, he got the concussion in the steel cage, and maybe he just went off book and went crazy, and he doesn't remember it. If you talk about it, he doesn't even remember the match. So
anyway, Wade Barrett took to Twitter after the announcement, commenting on reports saying, quote, I unexpectedly received a lot of very nice messages from people today. Thank you to everyone who took the time to. I should be doing this in the voice, and I'm not doing this in the voice. I apologize. I unexpectedly received a lot of very nice messages from people today. Thank you to everyone who took the time to write some kind words. I'll comment further at a more appropriate time, but for now, I'm 100% focused on doing my job for WWE. See you at Fastlane on Sunday.
And he dislocated his elbow typing that message.
But yeah, I totally agree with you. The guy, the injury bug has been his biggest opponent because, like you said, every time something got going for him, he got struck down with something. If it was the Intercontinental title reigns, King of the Ring, this whole League of Nations thing, the poor guy just couldn't catch a break.
No, and I don't think that's I don't think that you can blame that on the office. I don't think necessarily going to TNA is going to make that any better. I think the WWE has done a lot to try to push him, to try to get him over and get him to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, there was those reports, it was either last year or the year before, that they were going to hold a special Money in the Bank ladder match at SummerSlam, basically just for him to win the briefcase, and then he got injured like a month before SummerSlam, and then the whole thing got called off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just one of those situations, one of those, wrong time, wrong place situations.
And R-Truth has been trying to climb a ladder ever since. I am so sick and tired of that gimmick and this whole Goldust R-Truth thing. See, the Goldust R-Truth thing, I see some potential in, but I remember how great the Booker T Goldust stuff was, and I think maybe I'm kind of portraying in my mind that it's going to be as good as that.
It's so bad now, though. For God's sakes, they did an ejaculation joke this week.
It was, it's not outside the history of what Goldust does on a show like that.
It's awful. I have not been a fan of the whole R-Truth has Alzheimer's gimmick. It was funny the first time, and then they're like, hey, they laughed at that. Let's do it every goddamn week for the rest of forever.
Yeah, done to death for sure.
And
I will say watching him try to climb a ladder in the Royal Rumble was definitely chuckle-worthy, at least to me. I would have thought it was going to happen or something like that, but it was still funny. The visual was great.
I would have liked it more if instead of pulling him off the ladder and throwing him over the top, they had just shoved the ladder over and he had fallen to his death. But wait, did I say that? Shit. I mean,
you wish death on a lot of people on this show.
Elimination. Yeah, but I don't enjoy these segments because they're terrible.
Yeah, that's we differ on that one, I guess. I haven't found them these segments as great. I just, like I said, I see them leading to something that will be enjoyable. So I guess I'm kind of gearing up for something fun down the road, and hopefully we get there.
It's like Goldust is trying to give R-Truth Stockholm syndrome. Just wear him down until he finally agrees to be your partner. And then we'll get R-Truth in Goldust makeup, and that'll be fucking weird.
And makeup sex. So there's that.
Goldust makeup sex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I just make it weird?
A little bit.
Okay.
All right. Although I will admit, Goldust sticking his foot in the stepping in the toilet was I did enjoy that. But other than that, this whole series of vignettes has been the shits.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I want to see where it goes to. I don't necessarily.
I just want to stop.
You know what? We were wondering who the New Day was going to face at WrestleMania. There you go.
Oh God. If Goldust and R-Truth win the tag team championships, I might just give up forever.
It was almost like someone in the back went, "Well, we don't really know what to do with Goldust these days." But
because not only did we get Tourette's Goldust back out of nowhere, now they're trying to recreate the Tourette's Goldust Booker T thing.
Well, that's why Tourette's Goldust had to come back. Plus, you got to admit, Golden Truth is a pretty good name.
And it's like, you realize we understand that they're different black guys, right? It's not.
I don't think Vince understands that.
They don't all look the same.
Vince saw the segment and went, "I thought I suspended that guy." I know why Vince got a Southern accent, but he did. Just for that saying. But yeah, who knows? They got to do something with these guys. They're under contract. Truth's been there forever. He's starting to think R-Truth's got that lifetime membership that Kane and Mark Henry have.
Yeah.
So
rumors also circulating about Mark Henry retiring at the end of his contract. These have been circulating for a while. Of course, you can't trust Mark Henry when it comes to that after the greatest promo ever.
Fool me once.
The salmon jacket promo, as you called it in the text messages. Oh my God, that was so amazing.
I really wish Daniel Bryan had come out last week on Raw in a salmon jacket.
He absolutely should have won the Slammy for that, and he didn't, and that was goddamn wrong. That was wrong that he did not win the Slammy for that.
Look at him. How in the fuck on Monday night when the Dudley boys talk about where the hell are the Usos not get? They're at the Grammys collecting their award. The Grammys were on. It's a perfect opportunity.
Because you don't mention competing programming, because then people go, "Oh shit, the Grammys are on." Click, 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 click.
I think they knew competing programming, given that they main event programmed Strowman versus
show.
God. So, but what was actually the de facto main event was that whole abortion of a segment with Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, which really pissed me off. And some people liked it, but it really pissed me off because I think it was a great illustration of the fact that they don't fucking get what to do with Roman Reigns, period. They don't understand it. He is supposed to, and Paul Heyman over in that 5 minute promo, which was tremendous, as we've come to expect from him.
Because it was Paul Heyman.
Right. Than any of the writers have done. He plays the Samoan badass whenever he cuts a promo on Roman Reigns. He plays up, "You're a Samoan badass," and then Reigns' friend attempts to fucking DDT him, and his response is to get up, smile, pound.
Yeah, I was certainly expecting a Superman punch or a spear for Dean Ambrose at the end of that segment. And it didn't happen. It's kind of like they're teasing this thing with the whole Heyman promo where he's talking about you got to choose your friends or you got to choose your family. You can't have both. And Roman Reigns is trying to be the little Spanish girl in the taco commercial, and I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work for them because, like you were saying, it just ended very oddly. In that Dean Ambrose tries to give Roman Reigns the double arm DDT, and the dirty deeds. Thank you, and Roman gets out of it and kind of glares at him and then goes, "Oh, you," and that's it.
Exactly.
That's your build on the go home show to Fastlane. "Oh, you,"
and think about this: when has Roman Reigns been the most When he was with the Shield, what was he doing when he was with the Shield? Badass, mowing people down, not talking, not smirking, not smiling, stone-faced killer. That's when he was most over. When was he most over recently? When he was beating the ever-loving shit out of ass. No mercy, no humor.
Apparently something Triple H had to fight for, that beating that he took.
It's the formula for Roman Reigns is so clearly in front of everyone's eyes if you want him to be over as a face. They don't see it, and how they don't really boggles my mind.
Yeah. I mean, there are people saying, and again, we can talk about this later when we get to Fastlane, there are people saying that Dean Ambrose losing the championship is a setup for him to win at Fastlane and Roman Reigns to then get frustrated and finally turn heel.
And do what at WrestleMania? That's the problem. That's the problem with all this. I think the Dean Ambrose thing is a red herring. I think they're trying to convince us, because widely speculated going into it that this was basically just a vehicle to get run at WrestleMania without having to have Brock take the pin.
Right.
And I think they're trying to make people convinced now that Ambrose actually has a shot to win it. I can't see going back to Roman Reigns beating the shit out of Triple H, to Triple H enter Roman Reigns. If you change the main event of WrestleMania, you make the last 4 months of your television completely. And I just don't see that happening.
Yeah. If on the other hand, though, if it is Roman Reigns wins the Fastlane, what does Dean Dean Ambrose do over the next month?
Brock Lesnar. That's been programming.
You think they've given up on the Lesnar Wyatt thing?
I think
that they started at the Royal Rumble.
They haven't had any interaction. I mean, you think about it. They've been in the same building. There have been beatdowns by the police for Lesnar to come out and get involved. He hasn't done it. Ryback's almost taken on that role. Let's save other guys and get involved. And speaking of which, go back and rewatch Raw. I don't know if there's it, but that Ryback Bray Wyatt brawl would look like they were throwing some serious stiff shots in that thing. I don't know if they just don't like each other or if they were just doing a real good job of selling that fight, but they looked like they were beating the shit out of each other in that thing.
Just make it look good for TV, boys.
Speaking of not making it look good, Summer Rae and Paige had a match too.
Why? Why did Summer Rae go over clean? Over Paige, for God's sakes.
All right, so I've watched this thing twice, and I haven't read anything about it. I don't know if it almost looked like Summer Rae wouldn't let her kick out. It looked like Paige was trying to kick that shoulder up, and almost like she expected. And then the look of surprise on her face afterwards. I might just be marking out here, but it almost looked like that was like Summer Rae went into business for herself there. I don't know.
I think if she had, we would have heard about it by now.
But no follow up on Smack. That's the weird thing. Usually if you get one of those people who you don't expect to win a big match on TV, and from what I read, there was nothing there. So weird. It's probably nothing. It just looked to me for some reason.
Co-Ghost John says, Ryback and Bray Wyatt have a long-standing feud over which was better, Nexus or New Nexus. That makes sense. Now that Ryback's back to wearing the black trunks, I think we're back in full Skip Sheffield mode. So I'm waiting for feed me. Yep. What to do?
But getting back to the discussion, it definitely seems like there's nothing there at this point with Lesnar, and unless they're really trying to hold him apart until you get to that WrestleMania build. But Lesnar's not there every week. If you're going to build a feud for Mania, you kind of got to capitalize on every Lesnar appearance you get. And what they're using him for right now is to go, and he's not even really that involved with Reigns. It's really him and Ambrose, and that's got to be foreshadowing to WrestleMania.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, I mean, now that we're going to get Strowman versus The Undertaker and then Strowman winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
In the same night, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just...
But, I mean, you think about it. If you get... Let's say we get Triple H and Roman Reigns. We get Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt. Not Bray Wyatt. Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar. At Undertaker and Cena somehow magically shows up. We get that triple threat Divas match. All of a sudden, what everyone was talking about potentially being one of the worst WrestleMania cards ever actually looks pretty decent.
If only we could get Seth Rollins back.
I think we're looking at SummerSlam, and I think by then we're probably looking at a heel Roman Reigns.
Yes.
And then Rollins comes back as the biggest babyface in the company to get the title back. He never lost.
Oh my God, that'll be amazing.
I have goosebumps just thinking about that pop.
Yes.
That first Renee
Absolutely.
back.
Oh my God, it's going to be insane. Okay.
Showing the road to recovery. I don't want to see Seth Rollins at all. I don't keep him off TV entirely. I was pissed they had him on the
Slammies. Yeah.
His ass again until he comes back. Build that suspense. Capitalize on the opportunity.
I have a tickle in my throat. Okay.
There's something. There's something in your throat.
Weird. So they announced a slate of the new slate of network programming recently, and all the shows that are coming back. We're getting Swerve season 2, which nobody thought would happen because none of the superstars actually fucking liked it. But we're getting Swerve season 2. But among the list, premiering Wednesday, July 13th at 9 p.m. The Global Cruiserweight Series, being described as, for the first time ever, WWE invites cruiserweights from all over the world to compete in the inaugural Global Cruiserweight Series. 32 of the greatest in-ring competitors under 205 pounds will descend upon Full Sail University in Orlando and collide over 10 weeks to earn the right to call themselves the best cruiserweight in the world. I can tell by your vigorous handshaking that you're already excited for this.
I'm dying to see this. If this leads towards a Cruiserweight Championship being brought back and given a legitimate spot, I'm all for it.
What, you don't like Hornswoggle?
This reeks of Triple H overriding Vince to a degree. I can't see Vince really getting behind this. But it has Triple H all over it. The question is, they obviously don't have enough guys on their roster to fill out this tournament.
Right.
We're talking about
bringing folks in.
Right, we're talking about bringing people in, and where it's got to be from the Indies. I can't imagine they're going to get New Japan guys or, who knows?
Yeah, they've got that working relationship with Evolve, so I'm sure they'll bring in some Evolve guys. They can bring in people in from Japan. With these. The big joke about the one-shot deals, but of course they can bring some folks in just for this. I'm sure. Obviously, it'll probably be won by someone who's under contract.
That's the interesting question: is who? Usually, this type of thing is done as an individual that they want to really introduce or put over.
Right.
Want to legitimize Austin Aries to their audience, or I could definitely. That kind of tournament.
Yeah, I think that would be a great way to cement Austin Aries in NXT.
Yeah, but it's got to be someone like that, or Kalisto's kind of too big for it now.
Yeah, with the U.S. Championship and all. Yeah.
Maybe Mysterio's returning. Maybe that's when who knows?
I hope not.
That's what all the rumors seem to indicate, that he's.
I've never been a fan of Rey Mysterio.
I like him, but I think a Rey Mysterio Kalisto match would be exciting to watch.
If they're actually going this direction and reestablishing a cruiserweight division, then they want to bring Rey Mysterio back for that. That's fine. If I have to watch Rey Mysterio versus the Big Show one more goddamn time and have them skull, oh my God, it's David versus Goliath. I don't give a shit about that because it doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. I can't watch those matches because they're not entertaining to me because they're so goddamn ridiculous. Nothing that Rey Mysterio does would do anything to the Big Show ever. And you want me to believe that he's going to be world heavyweight champion.
And that's my biggest issue with these whole intergender matches. I feel the same way about those. I don't know if you follow Lucha Underground at all. Decent debut had Ivelisse facing Mil Muertes for the heavyweight championship of the company. No,
it's like the knockouts bracket in the TNA World Title Series.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm as big a fan of Ivelisse. She's one of the most underrated female competitors in the world, and should have been.
She was on Tough Enough, right?
She was on Tough Enough. She had a cup of coffee in TNA.
Yeah.
Got checked. Lady Tapa, who got cut, I think, a week later.
Yeah.
But she's amazing talent. to be signed after Tough Enough, and something fell through, and it was a medical thing, or I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
She's an amazing competitor. I just can't put her up against men. Certainly not.
This being, for those of you listening home, this being, of course, the season of Tough Enough recently that people actually watched, the one with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and not the one with Chris Jericho.
Right. Well, you know, my favorite match was also Cameron versus. My favorite match of all time. No, that was Cameron.
Yeah, it was Melina. It was Melina versus somebody.
Yeah, Cameron's another one who's on her way out the door. She's going to be in that post-WrestleMania hit you list.
She just came back to NXT like last week.
Yeah, for no reason at all in a match against another heel that was horrible. And I like Alexa Bliss. I think she's got.
I love Alexa Bliss. Is fantastic. I'm a big fan of Alexa Bliss.
I think since she's switched to the bit, I think she's really elevated herself as an on-camera personality. She still has a ways to go in the ring.
Yeah.
But she's getting better in that regard, and she's actually got a character now. She's not just
a fairy cheerleader is what we called her when she first debuted.
Exactly. But so I definitely see something for her down the road. And Cameron, not so much. Although Cameron, I heard Cameron's kind of running around with Team Bad.
Yeah, she teamed back up with Naomi on a couple of house shows, and then posted something on Twitter or Instagram saying, basically, you don't know what you got till it's gone, and then the Funkadactyls are back together or whatever.
Well, she is the only other black female they have outside of Alicia Fox. You got to replace Sasha, right?
Or as Vince McMahon calls him, Titus O'Neil with tits.
Wait, didn't I suspend her?
Oh wait, that was the Titus O'Neil without tits. Okay. Speaking of NXT folks making their way up to the main roster, there's apparently a huge debate over after WrestleMania whether it will be Samoa Joe or Finn Balor who gets called up, and they're saying that the outcome of that really depends greatly on who they decide to have win the title match at TakeOver.
I encourage you to go back 2 weeks ago. I think I thought even back then that's where it was headed. Whoever lost that title match was the next one.
I know we've talked about this. And so the idea being, we mentioned it then that they want Finn Balor to be the face of NXT, but also, like what they're saying, he's 34. He's been at this game for a long time. They don't want him to, I don't want to say waste his talents, but they want him to be able to show him off on the big stage as opposed to just NXT. But then again, you've got Samoa Joe, who's kind of in the same boat, where he's a big name, people know him. Do you bring him up and say, "Hey, Samoa fucking Joe"? Right. So it's a matter of it's a very tough question because obviously you want to see both on the main roster, hopefully not get ruined like Tyler Breeze, but still have them come up and actually I would love to see Finn Balor as Intercontinental Champion, Finn Balor as WWE Champion, Samoa Joe as WWE Champion would be fantastic somewhere down the line. But it's a question of timing and what do you do in the interim?
We're definitely moving to. You're definitely starting the characters that are getting pushed and getting over to Triple H being much more involved with the main event.
Right.
And you're starting. These are guys in Samoa Joe and probably even Finn Balor that Vince wouldn't have looked at twice 10 years ago.
Absolutely not.
Now they're not only getting hired by the company, they're getting put into prominent positions. And
I mean, they've talked time and time again about Samoa Joe and AJ Styles being on Velocity many years ago, and being basically just enhancement talent to the enhancement talent on Velocity. And like you said, guys that Vince McMahon wouldn't fucking waste a shit on, and now here they are in the company in NXT. AJ Styles goes directly to the main roster, and makes a big impact in the Royal Rumble. So,
and as much as he's been shit on in the, I will say Tyler Breeze getting into that Fatal 5-Way with the rest of that group that was in.
Sure, certainly.
Really holding his own. One of his better showings in a while on big TV in that match. And granted, he took the pinfall, but he took the pinfall with the guy who won the title, so no real shame in that. But I think he performed at a higher level.
I think that would have been the case no matter who took the pinfall.
Well, Tyler Breeze, that's what
the guy who made the pinfall is the guy who's going to win the match.
Right. Yeah. Well, if it was single elimination, that wouldn't be true.
I was honestly kind of expecting them to do a thing where Dean Ambrose wins and then Stephanie comes back out and goes, "Oh, it's an elimination match." But also that would have taken forever. So thankfully they didn't do that. Right. But I mean, I'm psyched that Kevin Owens is the Intercontinental Champion again.
Especially given that his career was over when he lost to John Cena. That's what you told me.
I never said his career was over.
Barry's another one.
I may have said that.
Yeah. Hey, Alberto Del Rio never got his win back, and he's been buried just fine. So I don't know that it's Cena. I think it has a little more to do with the creative staff not knowing what to do with a lot of these guys.
I've never blamed Cena directly.
Just very indirectly, very overtly. But where were we talking? Oh, this cruiserweight thing. So yeah. Anyway, I'm excited to see it. I'm as excited for this as I've been for anything in a long time, and I'm way more excited than I am for Fastlane. I can tell you that much. In fact, I'm more excited for the Edge and Christian show after Fastlane than I am for Fastlane itself. So,
can I fast forward through Fastlane Live just to get to the Edge and Christian show?
I will say this one thing for Fastlane. They've done a good enough job that 3 weeks ago, I was not interested at all in the main event because I knew it was going to be Roman Reigns. Now I have at least enough seeds of doubt in my mind that I'm interested to see what happens. So.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we're at about 54 minutes, so we can just we can skip trivia this week and get right into the predictions.
Can't skip trivia. I got to get back on you after I got screwed last.
No, we're already at 54 minutes. Maybe next week.
You don't want me to get my win back.
Oh, speaking of which, yes, exactly. We actually have another voicemail this week.
Oh boy, from
a
Jannetty
fan. It's not Marty Jannetty. It's close. In the name, anyways. It's in name wise, anyways. It's close, but this relates to our interests. So let's listen to this.
How's it going there, Rundown? This is Max Wayne Mortimer, the Fastlane Reporter. I'm here to check in with my predictions for my favorite pay-per-view of the year. You know, I hear a lot of people talking about WrestleMania, and I think that's just foolish, because they're missing out on a better show that's right there, right in front of them over yonder. As far as I'm concerned, we're on the road to Fastlania. I mean, think about it. Fastlane's been a WWE tradition for upwards of twice. Remember last year when Baggies Barrett beat Dean Ambrose by disqualification? I damn sure do. This is an event which puts the best foot forward. That's why Eva Marie's in all them commercials. Some people think I'm crazy. Some people say it's a secondary pay-per-view at best, completely irrelevant at worst. Some people say I should take my medication, because if I don't, I start seeing dancing armadillos and tutus. But you know what I say to that? I say, if you make one cake, no one calls you a pastry chef, but you fondle one 8-year-old, and all of a sudden you're banned from Six Flags for the rest of your life. What can I say? I guess I just enjoy living life in the fast lane, life in the fast lane. Now, here's my prediction. Roman Reigns wins triple threat match against Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose. Kevin Owens retains his newly won Intercontinental Championship over Dolph Ziggler. Kalisto retains his U.S. title against Alberto Del Rio. Charlotte retains her Divas title against the recently widowed Brie Bella. Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks defeat Naomi and Tamina. And that's the way it's going to turn out. Be sure to tune in this Sunday for the best pay-per-view of the year. And I guarantee you won't be disappointed. This is Max Wayne Mortimer signing off because I have to go check in with my parole officer.
Thank you, Max Lane. We appreciate the voicemail. Co-ghost Sean on the side says, I don't have high hopes for the Edge and Christian show. I trust them with a 5-second pose, not a half-hour show. I think you'll find that you are incorrect with that, my friend.
I think it's going to be a sketch kind of show, so we're not talking about it's going to be 5 minutes Saturday Night Live type skits.
I mean, I've already enjoyed the commercial with them singing with Mick Foley talking about burning his scrotum. I'm enjoying that already.
Dude,
so
I've got to see the whole Vince McMahon's toilet bit. That's what I'm dying to find out. What that whole thing's about.
A midget dressed as a baby on a hippity hop. That's all I know.
Balls out.
Balls out, ridiculous. All right. So we're starting with the pre-show, and the pre-show match this month is actually quite the match. On the pre-show, the kickoff show, we have Kalisto versus Alberto Del Rio for the United States Championship in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
So is this where I tell you what I think is going to happen?
Sure.
Okay. First, I think, and I'm going to go real specific, I think Alberto Del Rio fall, leading all of us fans to think, well, he's got an edge. Kalisto would have to beat him 2 times, even the commentators put that fact over. And then I see Kalisto, hopefully not on Monday Night Raw, he'll learn from Sin Cara and not hold himself up on the ropes for 5 for Alberto Del Rio to jump off the top rope onto him. Yeah. One of the worst pieces of shit I've ever seen.
I commented on that during Raw when he was out in the middle of the fuck ring, in the middle of the ropes, saying, God, if they keep that shit up, it's going to become just as hackneyed as the 619.
Because, you couldn't just let go. I don't know. But in any event, yeah, I see Kalisto taking the next 2 falls with best title, but it wouldn't make sense to take it off of him at this point, but nothing they've done with the U.S. title since the U.S. title open has made any sense anyway, so who knows.
Yeah, I do agree that Kalisto retains, hopefully. I don't think Alberto needs the U.S. title to do anything, whereas they're still, pimping Kalisto as this, big underdog star. And so I think the U.S. title would be good for him to hang on to that. So,
although now that Sin Cara is back, maybe they're in the team, so that could throw a wrench in that plan. I don't know. We'll see.
There we go. We get the Lucha Dragons at WrestleMania.
There you go.
Okay. Up next, we have Kane, Ryback, and Big Show versus the Wyatt.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
The winner of that match will be YouPorn, because that's what I will be checking out while that match is going on. If I had to pick, I'm guessing I'm going to go to the Wyatts just to.
I fucking hope so.
They're going to be doing it Mania.
I goddamn hope so. There is no reason for the Wyatt family to lose that match, and yet they probably will. But I'm gonna go with my hopes and dreams and say that the Wyatt family wins. We've got
and then the Wyatt family wins, and then the Undertaker return the other 4 for a 4-on-4 match at WrestleMania.
We've got Team Bad versus the team of Sasha and Becky Lynch. Team Bull.
That's pretty obvious. We're looking at Becky and Charlotte winning that. Becky and Sasha winning that one. I can't see that going the other way. Yeah, they have to build those 2 for WrestleMania with Charlotte. They can't have them losing.
See, I was gonna say that Team Bad wins when there's some tension between Sasha and Becky, leading to one of them, maybe Sasha, maybe walking out on the match, and thereby, setting up that thing, and then they can add the Divas title to that.
That was an interesting segment on Raw. If you caught it, Sasha came out to assist Becky while she was by Team Bad. But instead of going right into the ring, Sasha walked around the other side, gave him time for Tamina. Then as Team Bad left, Sasha jumped in and started to taunt on him. So maybe that's foreshadowing. Just bad writing. With the WWE staff these days, you never know.
Divas title, Charlotte versus Brie Bella. We've talked about this already many times during the show. You believe that Brie Bella will get her one last hurrah, and one night reign. If she does win, I hope it's only for a night. But yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, especially with the whole Daniel Bryan thing, I enjoyed their segment on Raw this week, where they desperately tried to add a backstory to this match.
I thought the promo battle wasn't bad. I was entertained.
I missed the first half of it because I was like, oh, a Brie Bella interview. I'd rather go clean the cat boxes. And so I went and did that. And when I came back, Charlotte was talking. But
yeah, I loved that Charlotte was shitting on the Daniel Bryan thing and basically telling Brie's wife for being there. I thought that she did a good job. The biggest problem, Charlotte is Rick's next to her all the time.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go. I think I've been swayed, and I'll go Brie Bella on that one. And like you said, give her a 24-hour title reign, and then get her the fuck out of the company.
She will not be the longest reigning Divas champion in company history.
She'll be the shortest reigning Divas champion in company history.
Oh, I don't know. I think somebody's had it from the beginning of the show to the end of the show at one point.
Oh, yeah? Shit. Okay, we already talked about Kalisto versus Del Rio. We've got the Intercontinental Championship, Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler. I really doubt that they take it off of Kevin Owens this quickly after giving it to him.
The only way they do that is if the program going straight through to WrestleMania is Ziggler and Owens, and they're going to hotshot it a few times. But I don't see that. I think Ziggler's gone over all lines point to Kevin Owens with a victory at Fastlane.
And of course, your WWE #1 contender match, Roman versus Ambrose versus Lesnar. We've talked about it many times during the show already. You are convinced that it is still Roman Reigns. I am also convinced that it is still Roman Reigns. As much as I would enjoy Dean Ambrose facing off for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, like you said, it basically destroys the last 4 months of television, and they're obviously not going to do that. So I think obviously still Roman going to WrestleMania, and like you said, setting up some sort of Brock versus Ambrose thing, which they've been doing over the past few weeks anyways.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's still Roman, but I do think we're going to see happen in that match. I think there's going to be some kind of unexpected twist, either leading the main event or between Brock and Dean. Something's going to happen. I don't know what, but I just as simple as just Roman with a quick victory over Ambrose at some point. And it'll be interesting to see what happens on Raw with this Vincent McMahon and the Prestige Award that they're introducing next week. I gotta think that's somehow tied to something.
I was gonna say that's obviously Triple H, right?
I was thinking the same thing, unless it's a way to bring Cena back on TV.
Unless they give it to Vince directly.
Yeah. And then he stumbles on his way out to pick it up because he gets lost.
He picks it up and he drops it, and then he can't open the fucking Royal Rumble ball.
They'll put it in a Ziploc.
That made Botchamania, by the way. Did you see that?
I'm not surprised. It should. It should be like the fucking year-end award-winning clip on Botchamania.
Jesus. How many tries does it take Vince McMahon to open a fucking plastic ball
this
from a vending
dude
machine?
With arms the size of your head.
This 70-year-old dude with arms the size of your head. Let's be fair.
Well, still.
Linda, I can't open the pickles. Linda, the pickles. Anyway. I enjoyed your stunned silence. Thank you for that.
I just had nothing to say. Vincent Pickles, I thought that was a skit on the Edge and Christian show.
Speaking of which, Kogo Sean says, a sketch show seems even worse. Oh, SNL is a sketch show written by professionals, and they can't even queef out a half hour of hilarity. Vince was never very good at getting the contents of his Easter eggs either. Okay. All right.
To be fair, he probably has trouble wiping his ass too with those arms.
That's an old stand-up.
Far enough back there. Yeah, well, I'm an older guy. What can I say?
When you put it that way, it sounds kind of creepy.
Doesn't everything I say sound creepy in one way or another?
All right, big stick. I think on that note, unless you have anything to add,
if we're not doing trivia on the topics,
okay, then that does it for the rundown for this Wednesday, February 17th, 2016. 229 days since Finn Balor won the NXT Championship, and 14 days till I go in for a total rectal bleaching. Go to audibletrial.com/rundown for a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial. Lucky Pro Wrestling presents Blizzard Brawl at the Elks Lodge in Clinton, Massachusetts, Saturday, February 27th. Atlantic Pro Wrestling presents Wrestling for Reading 3 at the J.G. Whittier Middle School in Haverhill, Massachusetts on February 27th. And Liberty States returns Saturday, March 5th to the John McCarthy Elementary School in Peabody, Mass. Anything VCW related that you need to promote?
Not coming out, not yet. Very soon, hopefully, we'll be announcing our next show.
Okay.
We got a lot of stuff on and a big year, hopefully, coming up for us. But stay tuned.
Follow us on Twitter at Rundown Podcast. Send us an email at rundownwrestling@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail like Sal and Max Lane Mortimer, the Fast Lane Reportimer, at 206-202-6478, 206-20. Angst. The word is angst. The word is still angst.
Oh, sorry, I was reading. That was just bad timing. I was on board this time.
We'll get to that in a second, Co-Ghost. Yes. Sister, like us on Facebook. Tell your parents and your grandparents to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/rundownwrestling. To make a donation of the monetary variety, go to rundown.podomatic.com and click the PayPal donate button on the right-hand side of the page. Watch archived episodes at youtube.com/rundownpodcast and circle me on Google Plus at google.com/+AdamRundownHost. Feeling constipated? Clear yourself out at tinyurl.com/distant horizons. Chasing distant horizons. It's poetry for your asshole.
For your asshole. I just wanted to do
that. And check out our sister podcasts, Shadowvane at shadowvane.net and patreon.com/shadowvane. The Pen15 Club on Stitcher and iTunes, episode 2 coming eventually. Tuning Japanese on Facebook and Twitter, episode 1 coming someday. And the Raw Attitude podcast hosted by Henry Hugepex, the suplex throwing human duplex, saying, quote, "Hey, since you're doing plugs, I've heard the Raw Attitude podcast already has 2 episodes up with a 3rd one written and coming soon. Henry Hugepex, the suplex throwing human duplex, sure is insightful when it comes to the Attitude Era." Yes, indeed. So check them out as well. I actually have to add them to the list because I keep forgetting. So I'm going to do that right now while I'm talking. I'm talking and typing. There we go. Search for us now. I promised last week, because I got some complaints, that we will not promote the fact that we are available on iTunes for absolutely free. Just search us on there under the Rundown Wrestling Podcast.
But are we available on Stitcher?
We are also available on Stitcher. Thank you for asking. Also completely free. All you have to download is the Stitcher app for your iOS or Android device. Again, search for the Rundown Wrestling Podcast on there as well. Stitcher's been down for the past few days. I don't know if it's back up yet. Some kind of server issue they were having, but who knows? If you cannot afford a monetary donation, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, because that helps other people find us. If you haven't left a review in a while, go back and leave another one, because again, we would like other people to listen. And if you leave a text review, we'll read your name in your review at the end of a future episode.
That could be dangerous.
It hasn't happened. Nothing horrible's happened yet. But now that I've said that, someone's going to do something, but that's okay, because it means we'll get a review.
There you go.
Thanks to Tegan Brown for the logo. Thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to Co-Ghost Sean on the side. Thanks to Jason down on the bottom there. You're not going to say you're welcome, you jerk? You're just going to be there?
Well, thanks for having Adam. You can have me anytime you want.
You're not my type. Thanks to I Fight Dragons at ifightdragons.com for the theme song. Next week, we will talk about what happened at Fastlane and express our shock.
All my predictions were correct.
And express our shock and awe that Brock Lesnar is going to WrestleMania to fight for the title. And as always, Jacob, good night and good luck. Don, go fuck yourself. And I leave you with this thought. Wade Barrett announced that he's not going to renew his contract. Brie Bella announced that she's not going to renew her contract. What would it take to get Eva Marie to do the same? Think about it, and then someone do that, because
porn.
She can fuck right off.
Porn. She should do porn.
I'm not sure I want to watch a porn called All Red Everything.
I'd be down. I'm not gonna lie. Especially her and Mandy Rose. I'm all in.
Don't know who that is. Goodbye, everybody. La, 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 la.
After the show is the after party.
All right.
Stop recording now.
And noise removal. Bunk. And bunk. And a bunk.
Noise reduction.
Henry Hugeplex, the suplex throwing human duplex.
How you say that every time without stumbling over yourself, I don't know. I don't think I could do that.
It's a long running joke, so I've grown used to it by this point.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely have tripped over it 4 times. I actually now I find myself periodically just have it pop into my head. It is
I would
infectious.
The episode that it came from was long off
actually,
iTunes at this point, but it was some list that Sean had put together of other famous indie wrestlers.
oh,
And, Sean says Eva Marie's porn would obviously be called an Eve in Marie.
Well, that's just too easy. Didn't Eva Marie now or something?
Yeah, I'm gonna put this back on the speakers and unplug this because my ears are fucking sweating.
Which episode was this?
235.
235. All right.
La 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 la.
We
la,
are
la,
exporting.
Okay. No one is watching, so I'm going to turn it off now. Good night, everyone.